Hey, Christine, I think I figured out your dummy coding issue. Actually, my dummy coding issue. Okay, first of all, there's the fear of death. That's your IV. I centered it. All that means is I found the mean of fear of death, which was around 92.7. Hold on, let me double check on that. Yeah, there it is. So the average was 92.7. So when I centered that, every fear of death, fear of dying, I subtracted 92.7. So the data in there is pure variance. So this first one was negative 17 below the mean, negative 56 below the mean, and the positives were above the mean. Okay, so that's the centered. The next thing was I created dummy coding for the medical and the mental. That's these guys, right? So if they had a 1, they're medical. If they had a 0, they were mental. And then this one's just the opposite. 1 is mental, 2 is that. And then lastly, I made the product terms. So this one, the first one is the medical dummies multiplied by the centered fear of dying. This one is the mental dummies multiplied by the fear of dying. Boy, I'm getting tongue-tied. But let's go ahead and run this through. So I'm going to do to analyze, regression, linear. Let me reset this. Bam. So the DB is pass. All right, the first thing we're going to stick in there is the centered fear of dying. And that's just like the regular fear of dying. So we already know that is going to be significant. The next one is I'm going to stick in one dummy coded variable, medical. I'm going to stick that in. Now this is an SPS thing. It already knows. If you stick in a dummy coded variable, it knows, SPSS knows that you're doing dummy coding. So you watch when I stick in a second one. I'm going to stick in the mental dummy coded, go to next, and it's not going to show up when on the output. I'll say that again. The second dummy coded will not show up, but let's run it anyway. And no. All right, so here's our regression. Here's our two models. So the first model was strictly with the fear of dying centered variable, and it came out just like the original. So regardless of profession, there is a significant relationship between fear of dying and physician assistant suicide. Boom. So the second model, strictly for the medical guys, it is significant, right? The second row. And this data right here is strictly for the dummy coded medical guys only, and it says it is significant. And you'll notice that the third thing that I put in there, the mental dummy, did not show up, and that's just an SPSS thing because it knows when you're dummy coding. It knows to leave one off. Okay, so but now I'm gonna redo this, and we should get the exact same thing. So hold on. So part 2, we're gonna redo it again. I'm gonna replace the medical dummy with the mental dummy. Big dummy. So regression, linear, blah 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 blah. So everything. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Previous, get rid of this. Previous, leave that one in there. So the next one, I'm gonna stick in the mental dummy first. Next, and then the medical dummy second. Next. Now it's not going to show the medical dummy, but I'm betting money that it's going to show up with the exact same significance as the other one. Okay, so let's run this bad boy. Bam. And it did. They came out exactly the same. So it doesn't matter if I put in the centered mental or the centered medical. The results were identical, right? 288, and the sig value is 0.001, which is, I think, which is telling us that there is a difference between the relationship between FOD and POS between the medical and the mental. Okay, so it is acting as a moderator. So that's the old-fashioned way. So now let me show you the new way. We're going to go to analyze. Going to go to regression. We're going to go to the Hayes process. I figured out how to put it in. I apologize. Boom. Okay. Your Y variable is your DV. That's your POS. Where are you here? Boom. Your X variable is your FOD, your original FOD. And down here it says moderator. And we're going to put the moderator in as the professions. Where are you? Professions. There it is right there. Boom. So we just stick that in there like that. Now, because this is a model number 1, that means it's going to check for moderation only. Now here comes the cool part. Click OK. Wait a minute or two. All right, and that was literally 2 minutes. Okay, but this is the Haze process output. It's different. This is actually something called R, which you don't need to know. Okay, so the model, the Y, your DV was pos, your IV was FOD, your suspected moderator was profession. You can only put 8 letters in there. That's why I had to change it to profess. There's your sample size. So your first model summary was significant. We knew that already. Okay, now here comes the good stuff. Let me roll this up a little bit so you can see it. Please hold. Okay, so here's FOD by itself. We knew that. By profession, it says there's something significant going on there. But here's the main one. Interaction. This int_1. Interaction between profession variable and the FOD variable. It is significant. Which means that the relationship between FOD and POS is only significant for either the medical or the mental. Now we're going to go down here to the different models down here, and it'll tell us. Okay, so this first one is medical. So for the medical profession only, it is significant, right? Bam. But when I added in the mental part 2, it was not significant. So we got it. This is the answer. So profession is acting as a moderator between FOD and PAS. The short answer is that only the medical professionals have a significant relationship between those two variables, and the mental professionals do not. So I hope this helps, and I'm sorry about all that crap yesterday. Okay, MGZ.